I sat across from Jack, his fingers curled around a glass of bourbon, the amber liquid catching the dim glow of the lamp. His eyes were steady, but I could feel the weight of his silence. I told him to stay put, my voice low, sharp, like a blade slicing through the quiet. I didn't explain why. I didn't need to. The air in our Chicago apartment thickened, heavy with something unspoken. As I stepped into the hallway, the door creaked open, and there she was, Lila. She glided in. Not a word, her coat unbuttoned, hanging loose like she owned the place. Her face held a kind of certainty, a smug curl at the corner of her lips that said she knew exactly what she was doing. Before we dive in, if you've been here before, hit that like button and subscribe. It keeps the lights on. New around here. Welcome. You picked a hell of a story to start with. Let's get to it. Jack's glass was near empty, the last sip swirling slow, catching flecks of light as it moved. I stood behind him, my palms brushing his shoulders, my thumb grazing the cotton of his shirt. He didn't flinch. He was used to my touch, my heat, but tonight, it carried a different kind of fire. I leaned in close, my breath warm against his ear. "Don't move," I whispered, my voice a soft command, laced with something dangerous. He froze, just like I wanted. His grip tightened on the glass, his spine straightening, adjusting to the weight of my words. I let the silence stretch, my hands falling to my sides as I stepped away, the absence of my touch louder than any sound. He didn't turn. He didn't ask. His breath came soft, steady, but the air between us crackled, taut with every step I took. The room seemed dim, the world holding its breath. My heels clicked soft on the hardwood, muffled by the rug beneath. That faint sound was all I could hear, each step pulling the tension tighter. I reached the hallway door, the one we never fully shut. Tonight, my fingers gripped the handle, firm, deliberate. I paused, letting the moment hang, then pulled it open. Lila was there, waiting. Her coat was still on, but it hung careless, like she hadn't bothered to fix it. She stood easy, too easy, like she didn't wait, she just arrived, right when I needed her. That same quiet confidence I remembered from the first time we met, back when this was just a half-drunk idea we laughed about over cheap wine in a dive bar on Michigan Avenue. Seeing her now hit me hard, a twist in my chest, a memory that burned. She stepped inside, silent, her movements smooth as she unbuttoned her coat. One slow click at a time. She slid it off, hung it on the door like she'd done it 100 times, like this was her home. Jack still hadn't turned. He didn't need to. She didn't speak to him. She just looked, a faint smile playing on her lips, sharp and knowing. I moved back to Jack, silent, crouching beside him until our arms brushed. My skirt grazed my skin, catching a faint breeze through the fabric. My hand hovered near his on the couch cushion, close but not touching. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. The moment Lila's smile flickered, Jack knew what was happening, why I'd told him to stay still. She moved first, not toward him, not yet, but behind the couch, her steps soft on the rug, her fingertips trailing along the edge as she passed behind his shoulders. He didn't turn, but I could see the effort it took to stay put. "Good." She slid beside me, her hand resting light behind his back. She leaned in, pausing near my cheek, a silent question hanging in the air. I didn't answer. I just tilted my head, knowing how close she was. Then she looked at Jack, her gaze steady, unblinking, not hunger certainty. She was letting him feel it, letting it sink in. This moment was about him, even if it didn't start that way. My hand found his knee, firm, grounding, a quiet anchor. Relax, I murmured, soft but sure. His leg shifted, just a fraction. Lila didn't move toward him. Instead, she sank to the rug beside us, calm, deliberate, her eyes never leaving him. Her hand rose, slow, purposeful, finding mine. She didn't pull, just held, a connection forged in silence. Jack's fingers tightened around hers, no hesitation. I took his other hand, guiding it to my thigh. The warmth wasn't his, it came from something deeper, something I couldn't name. He was caught between us now, not by force but by presence. Lila's fingers laced tighter with his. I pressed closer, the silence growing heavier, not awkward, not hesitant, just full. She brushed her hair behind her ear with her free hand. Slow, calm. Her eyes stayed locked on him, close enough that he couldn't look away. I saw his throat move as he swallowed, his gaze flicking from her to me and back, like he was chasing something that had already claimed him. That was the moment. Lila reached up, slow, deliberate, slipping off one earring, then the other. Each clinked soft against the side table, a perfect, sharp sound in the quiet. She wasn't careless, she was preparing. She leaned forward, no warning, no flourish, and adjusted her blouse, smoothing the fabric, tugging the cuffs at her wrists. Every move landed heavy in the stillness, careful, certain. Her hands moved calm, but her eyes never left him. She didn't watch her fingers, she watched him. His breath hitched, uneven. I didn't need to look to feel it. My hand rested light on his shoulder, the silence between us unbroken. He hadn't moved, but his focus had shifted, pulled toward her. She parted her blouse just enough to reveal the fabric beneath. Not removing it, she didn't need to. The meaning was clear. Then, without pause or show, she turned to me, her forehead brushing mine, a fleeting touch that felt like it had always been waiting. Her movements were steady, sure, no hesitation. Her lips held no question, only certainty, like this was what we'd been waiting to say. I met her halfway, my hand rising to her neck, not to stop her but to hold the moment. When she pulled back, I heard Jack exhale, a soft breath he didn't know he'd been holding. She turned to him, her hand taking his again, slower, firmer, not to claim but to hold. She guided his palm to her hip, her breath steady, even. His eyes flicked to me, wide, searching, unsure. I nodded once. Follow her lead, I whispered. She nodded, calm, and shifted closer, settling beside him. She moved without haste, still. When she sat, she held herself upright, facing him. His breath caught, then steadied. My hand rested light on his chest, loosening the fabric of his shirt until it gave way. His skin was warm beneath, his breath shallow. I pulled back. Just enough. Enough, I said. Soft. The shirt parted slightly, and the room held its breath. Everything went still, but not for long. Lila pressed her forehead to his, steady, sure. Her feet planted firm on the rug. Her movement wasn't hesitant, just controlled, quiet. His hand rose to her arm, fingers curling lightly around her sleeve, like he needed something to hold onto without being asked to move. He didn't pull her closer. He didn't need to. The weight of the moment pressed down on us all, not crushing, not heavy, but thick with everything unsaid, everything we didn't rush. I watched. His breath shifted, subtle, unsteady in the stillness. Lila pulled back just enough to see him, their foreheads nearly touching. Her lips parted, her breath soft, steady. She looked at him like someone watching a storm, not afraid, but fascinated. I slid closer on the couch, our arms brushing. My hand grazed his shoulder, near his collar. He looked taut, like he was holding something back, not from heat, but from being seen, from being the center of something he couldn't control. Then Lila turned to me, her forehead brushing mine again. Brief, calm, like the moment had always been hers. I didn't close my eyes, but Jack's were shut. He was watching us or listening, still unmoving, still holding. She shifted closer to him, her forehead touching his again. Not a kiss, just contact. Quiet, careful, steady. His leg twitched, a flicker of hesitation, then calm. His spine straightened, holding firm. I leaned in from his side, my arm draped along the back of the couch, my other hand resting near. His pulse was steady, but strong. I didn't press, just let my fingers rest. Light. His breath shifted, steady as before. Lila's hand moved slow, like her breath, resting near his on the cushion. Her fingers spread, brushing over his, not guiding, not gripping, just there. He turned slightly toward her touch, his thumb grazing the edge of her hand. Acknowledging it, she stayed upright, close but not leaning, not pulling him in, just near. I slid behind him, my cheek close to his ear, not trapping, not caging, just there. I exhaled slow. He shivered. Not a reaction, just a moment of calm. He was caught between us, not by force but by presence, every inch of him aware, every thought stilled. Lila tilted her head, her forehead brushing his again, not lips, not skin, just closeness, awareness without touch. His eyes were half open now, not closed, not wide. His hands didn't grip, but they didn't relax either. They held that quiet expectation, carefully kept. I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling the faint sound of his breath. The three of us sat there, sunk in careful silence, not moving, not pushing, not speaking. The quiet deepened, thick, slow. Each inhale was deep, each exhale slower. His hand, still under hers, curled slightly. She didn't let go. My hand rested on his chest, over the fabric of his shirt. His breath was steady beneath, his pulse calm, even. Then Lila looked at me, just once, long enough. In that glance, I knew. Jack didn't need telling, and I didn't need to speak. Quick question: if you're caught in this moment, do you stay silent or speak up? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. If you're still here, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for sticking around.